few posts back on Instagram, I talked about how we were playing with attribute tiles and how you could play with fractions and figure out what fraction of each color covered a certain area of the design. And before you can do that, you have to figure out equivalencies or relationships between the tiles themselves. And the reason that you do that is so that you know what fractional unit you're working in. For instance, this diamond can be made with 2 triangles. So we know that this is twice as much as the triangle, and the triangle is 1/2 of the diamond. And 3 triangles make up this trapezoid, or it might be a rhombus. I get those confused. And then that tells us that this is 3 times the triangles, and the triangles are 1/3 of, I think it's rhombus. The hexagons can be made with 6 of the triangles, which makes a triangle 1/6 of the hexagon, and the hexagon 6 times the triangle. But where we run into issues is when we look at the square. And in my post, I suggested, and I still think, that you should allow the square and this thin diamond to be approximate and just work with them as approximate, because as you can see, the base of this triangle is the same as the side of a square. Now, this triangle would be half of the square if the apex of this triangle came all the way up and was the height of the square. But because it's equilateral, that doesn't work. What you can do is ask your children to imagine the approximate ratio by noticing that you can take almost half of a triangle, put on either side of another triangle, and make the square. These are equal to the square, and I'll show you how we know that. So if you make a little house, see the little house with a square and a triangle, and you make that same shape with 2 of these thin diamonds or parallelograms and place them on top of each other, you can see they're exactly the same. If we take the triangles out, then we can see that these are 2 times that of the square, and that makes this half a square. We can look at this in relationship to the triangle in the same way, although because we've already established a relationship between the triangle and the square being almost twice the triangle, and we know these are equal to a square, that they're going to be almost twice the triangle. But when you put the triangle here, you see that this triangle almost cuts each one of these in half, making one of them equal to the area of a triangle. Okay, so now we know the relationships of all the different pieces. When we make a design, any design you want to make here, we'll start out with something simple. Always start out with something simple. I'm going to start out with this little hexagon shape. Now we can easily determine what fraction each color is of the entire design, because we know our smallest fractional unit is our triangle. So 2 triangles will fit into each of these, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 6 here, that brings us to 18. And then 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we have 24 spaces available for triangles. So 6 24ths, or 1/4, are triangles. The diamonds, we can fit 2 of those into each. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 24ths are the diamonds. And then 6 fit into the hexagon, so 6 24ths are the hexagon, or that one's 1/4. The other one I think is 1/6. And these are 1/2. And if that is true, then we could possibly use these to cover the other half. Sometimes the shapes don't fit exactly like this, but look, it does in this. So if we know that we have 2 of these and each is 1/2, this blue takes the 1/2. When you're working with children like this, you don't, there are different ways, obviously, that we can do this. Like we just figured out the blue is 1/2 by recreating the shape underneath here of this 6-sided star. And because we have 2 of these, we know that one of them is 1/2. So this is 1/2. And then the other star is the remaining halves. So that's one way to figure out that this is 1/2. And then from there, we can look at our triangles. We can take these 6 triangles to duplicate, because we have 2 of these. 1/2 is green and 1/2 is yellow. And since each of these 2, are half of the entire design, then this would be 1/4 and this would be 1/4. Playing with attribute tiles and fractions.